In March 1978, the Amoco Cadiz spilled 230,000 tons of crude oil on the coasts of Brittany. The background to the Cedre is in fact a very sad story. The Cedre was one of the results of the Amoco Cadiz disaster. It was set up immediately following that incident, when emotions about the disaster were still running high. The Cedre is the only French organisation authorised to deliver International Maritime Organization standard training courses. Trainees have at their disposal technical facilities which are the only ones of their kind in the world, including a 2,000 square metre basin and a 6,000 square metre man-made beach. These facilities are particularly well suited for the practical training courses given to the French and foreign trainees that the Cedre is regularly host to. Those attending this sort of practical training come from the civil service, the official state bodies, local and regional organisations, as well as the petrochemical sector. As part of their job, they may have to set up and manage clean-up operations. Thanks to the exercises run by the Cedre training staff, they can learn about the techniques required for protecting and fighting against accidental water pollution. As a centre of documentation, the Cedre has built up a vast collection of specialised documents since its launch. It releases regular information and publishes technical and operational guides. On its website, the general public and experts alike can gather information about the various aspects of accidental water pollution. The Cedre has a long experience of risk analysis concerning accidental pollution, crisis management, and the techniques used to combat pollution. It offers its know-how to both the public and private sectors by drawing up contingency plans and an analysis of risks. Following a request from the maritime authorities, the Cedre was able to analyse without further delay how the pollutant behaved in fresh and seawater. To do this, it used some original equipment which had been adapted to its requirements. Then there is the polydrome or flume test. This allows to weather oil and chemical pollutants while analysing all the parameters in the natural environment, such as the temperature of the water and air, the movement of the water, and wind speed. As the hours go by, the pollutant will be transformed. The data obtained allows the maritime and shore authorities to evaluate the threat to the environment, and thus they can better plan their techniques and the clean-up procedures. Alongside these experimental facilities in a controlled environment, the Cedre uses analytical equipment to identify pollutants and tests new products in this fight, such as dispersants and floating sorbents. In order to confirm the work carried out in the laboratory or in a controlled environment, the Cedre runs experiments with national and international partners in the natural environment. When the Prestige was wrecked off the Spanish coast, a biologist from the Pollution Monitoring Service from the Cedre was sent to the beaches of Galicia with the aim to limit environmental impact of clean-up operation.
Sur ce type de chantier, il y a eu des propositions d'extraction de...
In this type of zone, it was proposed that the pollution be eliminated by mechanical equipment. Indeed, that seemed to be a real possibility, an alternative. But to eliminate all pollution, you would have to eliminate half the sand from the beach too, removing all the vegetation and, quite simply, destroying the site. Operational response is a justification of Cedre's existence. Operational centre is therefore an essential component. The duty officers maintain there a permanent watch around the clock to advise those in charge of fighting against water pollution accidents. Apart from its involvement in major disasters, the services of the Cedre are increasingly in demand in France and abroad, and each year they answer around 200 calls. 2/3 of these calls are made to request support following an accident. They can lead to direct involvement on the spot by members of the main action and training team.
Le Cedre est allé sur tous les grands accidents.
The Cedre has been involved in all the major accidents throughout Europe and around the world, but on a daily basis, the engineers who are on duty around the clock reply to questions from firemen, harbour masters and industrial firms who have to deal with pollution problems. Minor pollution incidents, but ones which force us constantly to improve our techniques. Through feedback, applied research, training and planning, all the work done by the Cedre each day reinforces its capacity to offer technical and operational advice concerning accidental water pollution.